Welcome back. This video is about exploring spiritual insight versus real integration. William Pearce, welcome. And if you've ever noticed how easy it is to use spiritual understanding to avoid discomfort, then this video is for you. You know the ideas. Everything happens for a reason. It's all consciousness. Just observe the feeling. And yet, something inside you still resists sitting fully with what's happening. So here's the question that I've been reflecting on this week. Where have you subtly used spiritual insight to rise above discomfort instead of allowing awareness to move through you and transform you? Because awakening alone isn't the point. Integration is. So a line came through for me this week that has stayed with me. Life is either a divine comedy or a human tragedy. In any moment, you get to decide. It sounds simple, yet living it is a different matter, because the temptation on the spiritual path is to transcend our humanity. Thank you, Patanjali. Tantra suggests something else entirely, though. It invites us to actually include our humanity. Radical idea. It was at the time. This week has had some beautiful moments for me. I spent time trekking through the woods, recorded a new episode of Sex Prayers podcast with Tiffany. I shared articulate relating to support a friend going through a separation. And I deepened into intimacy in ways that reminded me how relational life becomes a mirror for everything we're integrating. And it also included moments of discomfort. Moments where it would have been easy to reach for spiritual ideas and unhealthy habits instead of feeling what was actually present. One phrase kept coming to mind this week. Feel the discomfort long enough to breathe life into it. Sometimes the instinct is to dab the sting of pain with a little spiritual understanding, a piece of chocolate, a smoke, whatever it might be for you, to explain it away, to transcend it, to ignore it, to rise above it. But if awareness is meant to transform us, it must move through our humanity, not around it. And sometimes life ensures that happens. Earlier this week, I took a tumble in the woods that left my body in pain. It wasn't catastrophic, thankfully, but it was loud enough to interrupt my usual pattern. For years, my instinct has been to push through, to override my body, to continue moving. But this time, I sat with the discomfort. I was present to it rather than ignoring it. And instead of pushing forward, I chose to slow down. And in that shift, created space for something else. Rest, awareness, and integration. Another moment came in conversation with my dad. Last week our conversation had been warm and enjoyable, and this week it was a little more challenging for me, because it turns out we both have fairly strong opinions about the news, despite us having very different amounts of exposure to the news. And that stole the focus for a lot of our conversation. And in the past, I might have reacted from either spiritual superiority or emotional frustration, but something else prevailed this time. My word for 2026, family. And that orientation helped us return to joy, and for our conversation to end in a good note. Viktor Frankl wrote in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he who has a why can endure almost anyhow. On the spiritual path, our why matters, because without it, we can wander in circles, looping stories, replaying narratives, revisiting the same emotional terrain again and again, sometimes rushing when things feel good, sometimes wandering through the desert of despair for years. Hello, Israel. But whatever I slow down, press pause, take a breath, I find my rhythm again. And something shifts. There's a tantric reframe. It suggests something subtle. Life will create integration one way or another. You can do it consciously, or life will have a way of doing it for you. And sometimes you might not enjoy how it chooses to do it. So the real invitation becomes, how can this be seen differently? What if pain isn't punishment, but an invitation to recalibrate? Instead of rushing past discomfort or chasing the next high, what happens if you let the experience linger long enough to reveal its wisdom? What happens if the sting becomes part of the integration? So what I want to leave you with is this question. Where this week did you use spiritual understanding or human habit to rise above discomfort instead of allowing awareness to move through it? Take a moment. Acknowledge what comes up. Sit with it long enough that the taste lingers and invites a shift. If this reflection resonates, this is exactly the kind of work I explore with people, sometimes through the Clarity Protocol, a focus one-on-one deep dive online or in person where we get to identify recurring loops, interrupt the belief, sustain them, and integrate a new identity over a 30-day period. Because integration is key. Insight alone doesn't create change. Integration does. You can find a link to that loop mapping diagnostic in the description. It's free. It's available. Please use it. It's been really helpful for me and those I'm sharing it with. If adventure is more your scene, Tantric Trekking retreats are available, walking through nature whilst combining conversation, embodiment, and reflection to create change. And for couples, Tiffany and I offer Contact Massage Journeys, a 3-hour guided relational experience where communication becomes somatic and couples rediscover connection through presence and touch. And if you're serious about relational mastery, all of this work lives within the Sex Pres Institute of Intimacy that we're building, a space for spiritually conscious leaders and couples committed not just to insight, but to integration. And we have a 2-day immersive coming in April, so stay tuned for more information, or head to our website where you'll be able to find more information soon. For me, this week wasn't dramatic. Overall, moments of. It was subtle. It was integrative. It was allowing awareness to flow through my humanity when I could remember to do so and not get caught in the loops. And perhaps your week was too. So before rushing past the discomfort, an invitation to simply press pause, to let the bite linger, to enjoy the aftertaste before delving back in for another bite, and to see where the wisdom, that pause, takes you. Thank you for being here. See you in the next transmission.